mimic daily life in some way. Monopoly is a good example because you have miniature figurines, houses, hotels, all these kinds of things that are set on the game board, and you're sort of going through the motions of part of what civic life is about, making deals and so on. So we looked at all those three things, and then also reflected on our own experience. And Jim remembers this, having conversations around a table about what to do, what to make, what Newton is about, what the history is, what folks are looking forward to, where conflicts lie, where disagreements are, who is included in a broad sense, and what stories need to be elaborated on in other murals in the future. So this is also a reflection of us around that table. And I think this is my point of view, and the rest, everybody else should share theirs. This is really about the process of people getting together to think about their identity as a community and to make a plan for what they want to do to make it better, to create places of memory, to engage each other in a conversation that we don't have enough. Right? So things are not, you don't see a lot of it here, there aren't conclusions here really. It's not saying this is what should be, this is what is. It's saying, well, here are all these parts and pieces. What do we want to do with them? And so they're engaged in that. People are doing different sorts of activities. Now what's happening in the background behind them, it'll develop into more of their imaginary or dream kind of space, with their thinking space. And so things will be much more abstract and fluid, overlap with transparency, and you see some of the symbols happening with suitcases, with wheat forms that are happening there. And then overlaid on top of all this is an infinity symbol, a Mobius strip. There's a couple different versions or ideas for what that is, but that comes from our initial response to Newton as a crossroads and a cross currents of geographically, because of its the Chisholm Trail and the railroad, which you're going to become very familiar with in a minute. Soon. There are lots and lots of trains that come right down here, stop the traffic for all day long. Also the crossroads of the old U.S. highways, Highway 50, which goes from Washington, D.C. all the way to Sacramento, and the highway is called the Meridian Highway, which goes from way up in Canada all the way further south than Mexico City. And that's the cross right here. Also across currents of cultures. This is a place where Mennonites really coming from Russia came to settle in great density around here. And there's a strong Mennonite presence in the culture, and food, and all sorts of things here. Also Hispanic immigrants first coming to help build the railroad, really, and then becoming a real bedrock community of Newton for a long time. So there are cross currents in terms of peoples from different places coming to live here. And so in an abstract way, we're going to have that Mobius strip cross through not only the background where you can see it now, but it'll actually come across the figures in the table. So you'll see it penetrating the figures in the table by a change in value. You can see it a little on this woman's arm in the blue dress here. It's just starting to emerge there. That's what's happening there. Around the outside is a frame, just to help us set all this stuff. And at the bottom of the frame are what will look like architectural details, and they're quilt patterns. Erica chose the quilt patterns from a book of designs, and they have visual meaning, but also specific meaning, what they're named for. larger, longer architectural features. The one on the left side is a textile design from the Plains Indians from the area, Native American pattern. And then on the other side, we've just started sketching it in. It will be a sort of reference to a diagram of the Doppler effect, because we experience it here so much with the trains. Just a nice abstract design as a counterpart to this one here. Yeah, and so Matt, Eric, and I have equally contributed to the translation of the community design team's input into this finished work here. Matt worked a lot on the background area. He's been working a lot on the background area, that green space and thinking space. Eric has been working a lot on what exists on the table here. And I've been working more on trying to figure out who the people are and where they're from and what they look like. Represent, because there are only a few people. Right? And characteristics of people that it's hard to sort of get all of them into one group, and the reality is. So we try to have a group of people that at least we've met. There's one other figure on the left side, more of a recent addition, and he's based on some people that we met here after we'd been here a while.